Nassau County versus Suffolk County, where should you live? If you're thinking about moving to Long Island, one of the biggest decisions that you're going to make is this. You're going to hear this come up a lot, and you're going to be thinking about a lot. Nassau County or Suffolk County. And honestly, if you're not from Long Island originally, you might think that they're basically the same thing, but trust me, they feel very different. It's a different pace, different lifestyle, different pricing, different commute, different experience. And I think a lot of buyers, I think they really underestimate how important this decision actually is, because choosing between Nassau and Suffolk can completely shape your day-to-day life once you move. So in this video, I want to break down some of the real differences between Nassau County and Suffolk County, not just the obvious stuff, but the lifestyle differences that people actually care about and people actually experience after living in both. And to be honest, this is the decision that usually comes down to what kind of life you want more than anything else. So let's start with what I believe is the biggest difference right away, and that's going to be location and proximity to the city that never sleeps, aka the Big Apple, New York City. Nassau County is much closer to NYC. That means shorter commutes overall. It means quicker access to Queens, to Manhattan, and it's generally you're gonna feel more connected to the city. And honestly, you feel that immediately when you drive through Nassau. Things are denser, they're busier, they're more built up. Sorry, I got something stuff there, right? Now Suffolk County is gonna be different, right? Once you start heading east into Suffolk, things begin to spread out much more. You get more space, you get less density, and generally you're gonna get suburban pace. And honestly, this is where a lot of buyers start. They start naturally. They start leaning one way or the other. So some people love Nassau because it still feels connected to the city. Others immediately prefer Suffolk because they feel like they can finally breathe a little bit. All right. So now let's talk about housing and pricing, because this is probably the biggest practical difference. So generally speaking, Nassau County tends to be more expensive, right? Especially Western Nassau, places like Great Neck, Garden City, Roslyn, and parts of Syosset can get extremely pricey and competitive price-wise. And to be honest, this shocks a lot of buyers who are coming from outside of Long Island. Suffolk County, it's usually going to give buyers more house for the money overall. It's going to give you, more land. It's going to give you larger properties. It's going to give you, more flexibility on space. And that's one of the biggest reasons why many families eventually, I find, start looking further east, because at some point buyers realize, wait, for the same budget, right, I could potentially have some significantly more space in Suffolk, right? So now obviously that comes with some trade-offs, right? And the biggest one, if you want to guess that, is going to be commuting. This is huge, because if you work in Manhattan, commute time matters a lot more than buyers initially think. A lot of people move further east because they fall in love with the house. Then 6 months later, and I've come across this a lot, they realize the commute is draining them. And honestly, this is one of the biggest mistakes that I see buyers make. They focus entirely on the house itself without fully thinking through, their daily routine, the traveling and how long it's going to take to move back and forth. Now, when it comes to lifestyle-wise, Nassau and Suffolk feel very different as well. Nassau County tends to feel more fast-paced and more suburban, urban kind of feel, and Suffolk County is going to feel a little bit more relaxed, more chill, more laid back. And honestly, Suffolk starts giving you much more of that classic suburban Long Island feel, that people picture in their head, in my personal opinion, especially when you get into areas like Sayville, Smithtown, which is a great area, Islip, East Islip, Babylon, or even further out east. It's a big difference. Another big difference is going to be the relationship to the water and the outdoor lifestyle. Both counties have waterfront areas, obviously, but Suffolk County leans much more heavily into that lifestyle overall. You got more beaches, you got more boating culture, you got more space, more of that laid back kind of coastal energy. And for a lot of buyers, that becomes one of the biggest reasons they choose Suffolk, right? So now I want to start talking about, the downtowns and the activity. So Nassau County is, has more areas that feel more heavily connected to that NYC type of life, those types of patterns. Places like Rockville Center, Garden City, Great Neck, they feel very active. They feel very, very built up. So Suffolk has downtowns too, right? Huntington, Hatchlow, one of my personal favorites. Babylon, you got Northport, right? Some great downtown areas, but they often feel, more lifestyle oriented and a little bit less city overall. And, honestly, this is where personality starts becoming a major factor, right? It's something you need to consider. Some people generally, they love Nassau's energy. They love the convenience. Others feel stressed out by it, right? Immediately. And they prefer Suffolk's slower pace. It's something I'm finding as I'm getting old. I'm getting up there. I'm slowing down a little, right? This is just me here. But anyway, another thing that buyers underestimate is how traffic differs between the two. Now, let me be clear. Both counties definitely have traffic, right? I mean, it's New York. You're going to be experiencing traffic, but Nassau County tends to feel much busier overall because of the density and the proximity to NYC, right? Suffolk can feel calmer in certain areas until summer beach traffic kicks in. Long Islanders know exactly what I'm talking about there. Now at the end of the day, here's how I usually explain the difference. Nassau County is usually a better fit for people who want shorter commutes, more connection to NYC, a denser suburban environment, and convenience. Suffolk County tends to appeal more, to buyers who want more space. They want slower pace. They want, stronger suburban or coastal kind of feel, and just more breathing room overall. Now, neither is better. They're just different. They're just different lifestyles, and I think buyers get into a lot of issues when they focus too much on the house and not enough on the life that they're actually trying to build, because that's what really matters at the end of the day, guys. Is the long term and the life that you're trying to build for yourself and what you're comfortable with. So if you're thinking about making a move to Long Island and you're trying to figure out whether Nassau County or Suffolk County fits your lifestyle best, feel free to reach out to me. All my information is down below. I'm a realtor that has been raised, I've grown up in New York my whole life, and I'd be happy to point you in the right direction. All my info is down below. Feel free to text me, call me, email me, or book a call, and I'd be happy to point you in the right direction. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.